Okay. So again, we're going to start the meeting at 4:05. Okay. And we're going to start with our land acknowledgement. Before we begin, it's important to open our meeting by acknowledging the indigenous land that we share. The campus of Pasadena City College was built on the sacred and unceded land of the Tonga people. We honor the Tonga and all indigenous people, past, present, and future, and their continued survival to contribute and contributions to our society. We also honor the legacy of the African diaspora and recognize that this country would not exist without the free and slave labor of Black people. We share these acknowledgements to raise awareness about histories that are too often erased or forgotten, to recognize our place in this history, and to affirm our commitment to social justice, systemic change, and anti-racism. Did we have any public comments? Ms. Walker. Just a moment. Go ahead.
Yes, so we have a public comment from Tamika Alexander. If she's available, you can share, Tamika.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, Dean Tamika Alexander.
Oh, thank you so very much. I would like to just let you all know the results are in. PCC is officially #1 in transfer in sending students to the Cal State University system and the University of California. Thanks to Crystal's area who helped us confirm the data. Over 2,500 students transferred for fall 2020, and that's thanks to the great work of you all as faculty, our staff on campus, and of course our students. I just wanted to let you all know that we're having University Day, and we really encourage faculty to tell their students. It's taking place on Wednesday, September 22nd from 9 to 1. USC will be present, UCLA, Cal State LA. And this is a great opportunity for students to come learn about admission, financial aid, and apply for transfer admission guarantee. Now we're excited that we're #1 in transfer combined, but now our goal is to really close the transfer gap with some of our underserved populations. So thank you so much. We will send the information to Dr. Lopez, and perhaps Dr. Lopez can send out the flyer. 60 of the schools will be present virtually, and 10 will be present in person on campus. So this will be a hybrid event. So if you happen to be on campus, come grab some lunch. If you want to join us in the virtual space, come learn about the latest programs that are taking place. We have a special presentation with Cal State LA from 12 to 1 that's going to really highlight the bachelor's program, the bachelor's in business that our PCC students can do here at the campus. So thank you very much.
Okay, now we have the approval of minutes. If there are no objections, I'd like to approve the minutes by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we will pass the minutes by unanimous consent. Moving forward, we have constituency reports. I was contacted by Mark Whitworth that the FA does not have a report today, so I'm going to move on to adjunct faculty. Are there any reports for adjunct faculty?
Yes. Hi, everyone. As chair for the past 2 years of the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee, I'd like to thank my fellow committee members for the support. Now that my term has come to an end, we're in the process of appointing a new chair to the committee. We're also trying to increase our membership of the adjunct faculty on the committee. As you know, because we're adjunct faculty, most of the work is volunteer work. So it is a challenge for us to fill the committee at times, but I will be reaching out to the adjunct faculty this week to try to get some individuals interested in serving on the committee. Thank you.
And thank you, Professor Constantine, for your years of service. We truly appreciate your input and your hard work in the Academic Senate. Thank you. Thank you. Next, Classified Senate. Is there a representative for the Classified Senate here?
Yes, Dr. Gina Lopez, Mrs. Nairi, on behalf of the Classified Senate. We just want to report that we have our general meeting coming up for fall, and we'd like to do something nice for classified employees. Many of our senators have reported that a lot of the classifieds in their respective areas have been working very diligently to make sure everything goes off without a hitch during our hybrid start to the fall semester. So we're planning on doing something nice for them just as a bonus. So the details about that will be coming up later this month. Other than that, we have a few hiring committees that we're trying to fill, such as the interim director of EOP&S. So if you know of any classifieds that would be a good fit, please feel free to nominate them or ask them to reach out to the Classified Senate. And that's it from us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And in case you didn't know, the Academic Senate gave a shout out to our classified family at the Board of Trustees the Board of Trustees meeting. We support you all and we appreciate you all. Now, Associated Students. Do we have a representative from Associated Students? Seeing none, I'm going to move forward to Administration and Management Association. I saw Dr. Cobb here. Dr. Cobb?
Hi, good afternoon, all. So I think we're doing the same stuff classified staff is, trying to fill all these shared governance committees with our new board and hiring committees. And so that's been taking up a lot of time. Our coordinator position just got filled by David Steinman. And that's actually the hardest position on the board, is to try to coordinate all those volunteer opportunities. We had a good meeting with the exec team this morning, which was a first for MA board. And so we had a really good meeting with them and looking forward to other meetings. We've reached out to the Classified Senate to also meet with them as well. And to start addressing some of the issues in the PRT. And to extend that to them as well. In the same vein, we also delivered, I think the first week of school, we delivered some goodies to folks in the Management Association. And if Nary can do a pitch, if there's any management or any management folks who would like to get involved, we are looking for 2 folks to serve on hiring committees, one being an administrative assistant position, hiring committee for Foothill campus, and the other being a systems administrator hiring committee. So thanks for leading the way, Nary. The pitch is good. So if you know folks, encourage them to get involved in MA. Thanks.
Now we have our Academic Senate Officers Report, and for the sake of time, because we have a full agenda, I'm going to make mine very brief. I have 2 things that I wanted to report on. One is that it's faculty hiring prioritization. It's open now. Applications have been sent out and they are due on October 13th. So please work with your deans and your peers on those applications. Also, I've been asked by the amazing Judy Benson to mention our conference travel funding requirements effective August 23rd through December 31st of this year. Instructors who teach in person may apply for travel and virtual conference funding. Instructors and teachers who teach online may only apply for the virtual workshop funding. If you have additional questions, you should contact Candace Jones. Instructors applying for Academic Senate Senate Faculty Development Fund, you may submit the application online from the Academic Senate webpage under Conference Travel. You'll do that through Chrome River. If you have any additional questions, please contact Judy Benson. And that's it for my president's report. Next, do we have a report from our vice president?
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to report that we have some openings in Senate committees. So in particular, the Academic Rank Committee was asking for membership. So there's opening there, but you can always go to the Senate governance and committees and look at Senate committees and see if there's openings and ask to be on them. And the other thing that I wanted to let you guys know is the campus is working on making it more available to check your EEO training status. They have a link on our Lancer Point, but it's not quite working. So once it's working, I'll show it to you guys. But for some reason, it's not working on my computer. So, or else I would show you. But if you go to Lancer Point and Employee Resources, there is a link to the EEOS or just to see if you are EEO trained. So thank you. That's my report.
Okay. Next, we have our treasurer's report, Sheila Rose. Oh, I'll get you. I'm sorry.
Thanks, everyone. So I would just like to read the balances for the Senate accounts into the record. So I'm just going to do the totals, but you can see the breakdown here. So our combined total as of August 30th was $23,062.24. As of today, that balance is $23,002.27 for a decrease in $59.97. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rose. And now I'm sorry, I skipped our secretary's report. Professor Walker.
Thank you, Dr. Lopez. Really briefly, for housekeeping purposes, we got a lot of requests kind of at the last minute before the meeting started. So just want to remind everyone the deadline for agenda additions is the Thursday before our Senate meeting at 2 p.m. So unfortunately, anything after that would have to wait to our next meeting agenda. So again, the Thursday at 2 p.m. before our Senate meeting. Please have any changes to the agenda you would like. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Walker. Now we move on to item G, our new business, and Dr. Laura Ramirez will talk to us about AP 3560. Dr. Ramirez, are you here?
Hi, how's everyone doing? Thank you. So AP 3560, that's our alcoholic beverages. Let me look it up really quick. So we have a request specifically from our culinary program. They're developing a wine tasting program. There he is. And so as part of that process, we need to make sure that we have an AP that explains the process or how the college is monitoring the use of alcohol specifically in the classroom, and or if we want to use it for other events, if we want to use it, for example, via the foundation or hosting events where we want to be able to serve alcohol. So that's why we have an AP. We pretty much cut and paste from Napa Valley, I believe, which has a full wine tasting development program. I will say, and Mark, please correct me if I'm wrong, that it's not just the wine tasting, but it's also teaching students how to ferment, how to grow grapes. So it's the vision is that it'll be a full program.
Absolutely. And it's just not confined to wine and the wine that we all drink here in our culture in Pasadena, but spirits and beer, because we are leading those two entities here, and spirits is up and coming. So yes, it encompasses all of those. Dr. Ramirez.
Any questions or comments, concerns?
Is there any discussion on this before we move it to a second read? Anyone? Well, thank you for presenting to us today, and we will let you, oh, there is a hand. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lyman.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that you said it was lifted pretty much from the NAPA, but has anyone in whatever passes for a legal department here at PCC read through this or whatever? I mean, I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. I just want to make sure we're on the right side of things.
That is exactly part of the process. We go through the Community College League, HR, and of course, anything having to do with the liability for the institution, we make sure that it's reviewed as well.
Okay, cool. And I do have a question for Sheila. So this pertains to the alcohol because that $59.97, that was the decrease. I mean, did you buy like a bottle of high-end tequila that you were sampling or something? Because that's a suspicious number, $59.97.
I'm going to have to check in with Judy on that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, are there any additional, oh, Talene.
Hello. I have a question about the alcohol policy. So there was mention of wine and beer, but then Mark just mentioned spirits. So is that a different category that needs to be added if that's something that might be coming down the pipeline?
Dr. Mears, if I, go ahead.
Actually, we talked only about wine, but Mark, you want to take that?
It is the alcohol, and one challenging thing is to look at the alcohol content of each of these three items. When we serve it in beer, it is considered a 12-ounce portion, what we would consider a can of beer. If we talk about wine, we're looking at a 5-ounce portion of wine, a glass of wine that you would get at the JW, for instance, in Palm Springs, or something here at the Hyatt in Pasadena. When you're talking about spirits, it's a 2-ounce portion. So the amount of ethyl alcohol that is in your drink will always be the same per measured total alcohol portion. So we're talking about portions rather than percentage of alcohol that's in your actual drink.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Talene.
No, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna shut up.
No, I want to hear a little bit more about your question, because I know there is a lot of problems. People talk about wine and then we're jumping to spirits and craft beer. And there are some changes, and the alcohol content is a big thing to be concerned about. But we have many barriers and many walls, things like checking IDs, having teaching assistants logging your license and logging your ID to make sure that when you come into the class, if the class is more than 40 people, that we are checking and make sure that everybody that's supposed to be in this class is in this class. We have many other barriers. I don't want to run into those, but it is a big issue. Spirits is powerful, right? Versus wine, which is something that we do every day, that is part of our culture, that we drink with food, with appetizers. I hope I'm hitting the right.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm all for this. If we can just vote unanimously right now, we should. But no, my question just is, if we specify beer and wine in the policy, but then there's also intention to then bring other type of beverages, we're gonna have to go through this process again. Why not just include the word spirit? And then that's all I'm saying. So we don't have to go through this again for future ones.
I think that's a great recommendation.
Okay, the end. Thank you.
John?
I was just wondering, out of curiosity, is the one about minor league baseball, is that relevant to us at PCC, or is that a holdover from NAPA?
That's a holdover.
Okay.
We can edit that.
Okay, so we are out of time for this item. I'm willing to entertain a motion to extend. I have hands up. Is there a motion to extend this item?
Extend by 5 minutes.
That's a motion by Professor Bevel Constantine. Do I have a second?
I second.
I saw Lyman's hand first, so Lyman Chafee seconded. So extend by 5 minutes, Professor Walker. Brian Wilbur.
I guess my hand is still up, so I'll just follow up with what John said. Yeah, I'm with him to get rid of this. The Sonoma County Crushers, I guess, use the junior college facilities up in Sonoma County. And so this is really old because the Sonoma County Crushers are defunct now. But yeah, I think that having minor league baseball, yeah, that needs to go. I was just gonna make the point, but now since John already mentioned it, I'm gonna back that up. That one's a little off. So thanks.
They're crushing grapes, no doubt.
Yep, that's what they have. They're like the Tar Heels, except they're purple. That's their mask, or that's their whole thing. I had a
Okay, so Professor Constantine.
Yeah, I was just curious, is this the creation of a brand new program from scratch, or is it a continuing of culinary arts, or what's the background towards the program?
This is both, Professor Constantine. It is when you talk about hospitality management, which is the accompaniment of things that we think of hotels and restaurants and airlines and cruise ships, the management and operations of those, and then culinary arts, which is the preparation of the food that is accompanies all those items. Across all entities across the US and globally, those two are united forever. They've been separate for a very long time here at PCC, and we just united those this year with Chef Colleen Nano and I. And we are leading forward in saying that this is not a new program. We are doing things that the globe has done for decades on end. So we're just introducing alcohol, which is new to this campus, but it is a hot topic, whether you're religious, whether it strikes a cultural chord, whether it strikes a personal political chord with you. We don't want to make sure that you are aware of it and you are okay. We will hear you and we will move on. But we want to bring those things here to Pasadena because they will bring us a tremendous amount of certificates, which we already have approved and ready to go, which are accounted. We have a class now, which is ready to go this semester, but I have held off. Dr. Amir said, like, let's wait. We haven't heard from everybody yet. So we're waiting right now to hear from all of you. We can launch this class. It's all about alcohol and training and brewing and spirits and wine and but it's all there right now, ready to go. But you want to make sure that you are all ready and happy and content with this. But we are falling behind, and in my opinion, and only in my opinion, we are behind in alcohol service. I'll leave it at that. Professor Bernal.
If there are no more questions, are there any more questions? I don't see any. Thank you for your presentation, and we will bring you back for a second read. Thank you very much. Okay, so next we have the approval of our academic senate goals. Professor Rose.
Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen with the revised version of the goals. So based on your rich feedback from our first retreat, I attempted to incorporate as many suggestions as I could in these goals. Some of the key ones were to combine the two goals that were addressing creation of outcomes. So the anti-racism general education outcome and the liberatory institutional learning outcome have been combined into goal 3. There was also a request for including other forms of discrimination and addressing that in our curriculum and pedagogy. So that has been added to goal 4. And I believe those were, also there were a lot of comments and questions about our anti-racism resolution versus policy. So I did reference the anti-racist resolution there, which includes a glossary of much of the language that is going to help us have a shared vocabulary for this work. So at this point, if there are any questions or comments.
I move to approve the list of goals.
Okay, give me a sec. Sorry. Let me. John has a question.
John?
Yeah. Sheila, thank you for taking our feedback into account. I was wondering about, I know over the summer, the board did a ton of work with CNI and, you know, regarding coming back to campus and things like that. And I was wondering if something about COVID should be mentioned in these goals, sort of coming back to campus, especially since, you know, COVID is, you know, has been an issue of race. And I think anti-racist practice could, you know, help with that coming back to campus for students and faculty.
I agree that that's a very important issue. I think that where we can kind of include it is for addressing all other forms of discrimination. So I could add some specific language about COVID if you wanted to suggest that, John.
I think it's important, as some of us are, you know, still not back on campus, and some of us are, and some students are and some aren't. It just seems like we're still in the middle of this. And I imagine that the Senate is going to be called upon again and again to help with these issues, just as they were over the summer.
So I'm wondering, John, is that a goal, or is that just kind of the work of the Senate that we ensure a safe return to campus for all of our students? I see Dr. Bernardo's hand. Should I call?
I thought maybe it could be a goal.
Dr.
Like,
Bernardo?
oh,
I'm sorry, he could finish if he wants. I'm just following up.
no, I just thought it could be a goal, since the goals are for this year. I think it says at the top 2021-22. It seems like it just relevant to be in the goals for this specific year. That's it.
Is there specific language that you would like to suggest, John, to add to one of these goals, or as a separate goal? I don't hear him.
I'm not sure if I can get that to you off the top of my head, but something just about being mindful of the context with which we are still in regarding COVID.
We're at 20 seconds.
Dr.
Okay, I can
Bernardo?
try to write something up.
This is not working.
I'm writing.
I think you're muted.
Okay, Dr. Bernardo?
Hi, yes, sort of on this a similar topic. Do we currently have a committee for this institution that reviews safety and public health policies, like a standing committee, or I guess a part of the academic senate? And if not, should we not maybe think about creating one because of these COVID situations and possibly things in the future that just involve safety and public health? Maybe I'm thinking about making a new committee. We don't have one.
I'm going to let our Vice President, Dr. Jaramillo, speak to that. Thank you.
So we have a committee on
I can't hear anything.
Did you not hear Dr. Jaramillo?
Sorry, could you hear me? Okay, sorry about that. So I said that we have a safe learning environment committee. And the chair of that committee is Dr. Coteras. So they're supposed to be handling safe learning environment issues.
We are out of time on this issue. However, we can entertain a motion to extend. Is there a motion to extend?
Move to extend by 5 minutes.
Okay, moved by Professor Constantine. Is there a second? Lindsay, is that your hand or is that a second?
It was my hand. I'll wait if there's a second. I can get in touch with Dr. Bernardo.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay.
So it's been moved and seconded by Dr. Bernardo. How long are you extending? You said 5 minutes? 5 minutes, Professor Constantine?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Professor Ruiz.
I'm actually on that committee, Dr. Bernardo, the Safe Learning Environment Committee. And so we will have reports. So as soon as we meet, we're meeting next week. As soon as we have reports, I'll be definitely reporting out to the entire Senate. But if there's something that you in particular that you feel we should be looking at, I'm happy to take it to our committee. Thank you.
Okay. So are there any other questions? Okay, then we're going. We're going to come back to this, but is there a motion to approve the goals? Oops, I'm muted. I'm sorry, I was muted the whole time and I said some great stuff. I wanted to know, is there a motion to approve the Senate goals?
Motion to approve the Senate goals. This is Anthony Francoso.
Thank you, Professor Francoso. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Professor Constantine. Is there any discussion? I think we already did. Ken, I don't see it. Okay. With no discussion, can we approve this by unanimous consent? If there are no objections? Seeing no objections, the Senate goals are approved by unanimous consent. Yay, we have Senate goals for this year. Yay. Okay. Whew. Next, we have a second read of the AP and BP 4230, and that is going to be talked about we're going to hear from Crystal Colross and the Student Success Committee. Crystal, and I think it's Sheila et al.
I think I'm going to turn this over to Sheila and Miriam because they've been working on this.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. So one of the goals that the Student Success Committee has had for the last several years is to do a comprehensive review of all of our educational policies that impact students and look at them through an equity lens in order to revise them. So we passed equity-minded guidelines for policy creation and review. And we also formed a subcommittee of the Student Success Committee that will also partner with the Educational Policies Committee, which is a Senate committee, in order to do this work. We piloted this work with the full Student Success Committee Tuesday of last week. And we looked at these two BPs and APs, so 4230 grade appeal and 4260 prerequisites, co-requisites, and advisories on recommended preparation. We were not able to rewrite the policies because we realized that it takes a lot of work to look at policies and revise them through an equity lens, but we do have some suggestions that came up. So for 4230, which is grade appeal, and please do, other members of the committee, and especially Miriam, who's chair of the educational policies, please jump in if I am omitting anything. One of the things that is our goal is to rewrite the policies in student-facing language. So a lot of times there's a lot of legalese. There's language from Title V and from Education Code that might not make sense to students. This can make processes like that for grade appeal very opaque. They are very outdated policies, and so there are references to meeting with administrators whose positions no longer exist, going physically to offices on campus rather than being able to access forms online. For grade appeal, the process also went through the Office of Instruction and went all the way up to the superintendent president looking and providing a response to students as the last step. One of the recommendations from the committee was that perhaps the Office of Student Life could be participating in this process, and I'm very happy to see Dr. Cobb here because that office has a reputation for being more of a student advocacy center. One of the pieces of the policy for grade appeal is that students can have a representative with them, but there are no recommendations for who that representative might be and what kind of training that representative might have that would help them to advocate for the student. We also considered having something that was very kind of readable and understandable to students, such as a flow chart that would demonstrate the process to them very clearly. So our work is continuing on grade appeal, and we're going to partner with the Office of Institutional Effectiveness to make sure that we're balancing the legal language with the student-facing language. So that was the main recommendations for grade appeal. The other BPAP we looked at was 4260, which was the prerequisites, co-requisites, and advisories on recommended preparation. So this is really when students are coming in and they're being told to take a prerequisite or a co-requisite. They may have fulfilled that at another campus. So one of the things that we realized is that some of the options for students were not included in the policy. So there is a step where a student can sign a responsibility waiver, where even if the college is recommending that the student take the co-requisite or the prerequisite, they do have the right to sign a waiver saying that they take responsibility for their success in the course and that they are choosing not to take the recommended preparation. However, nowhere does that responsibility waiver appear in the policy, and really the students can only learn about it if a dean recommends it or they find out through some other kind of process. So our main goal with BPAP 4260 was to make the process more transparent to students and make sure that all parts are included. Again, there's no indication in the policy where students should go, where they would find the forms, and who they would talk to. So we really want to make sure that our students understand these policies and have all the information they need to take advantage of them. Miriam, anything to add?
No, Sheila, you covered it. Thanks.
Okay. I'm seeing hands up, but we're out of time.
Motion to
Okay.
extend for 5 minutes.
And who was that?
Lindsay Ruiz.
Thank you, Lindsay. Do you have a second?
I second the extension. Dr. Carmen Stevens.
Thank you, Carmen. So we're extended by 5 minutes, and the first hand I see is I'm sorry. I see hands from people who are not Senate reps. So in order to allow them to speak, I'd have to have a motion for that. But I currently have a motion. No, we don't currently have a motion on the floor. Just a moment.
They're experts on it.
Okay. I'm entertaining a motion to let content experts speak in the Senate.
I so move.
Thank you,
Lauren.
by Professor Chafee and seconded by, who was that? Thank you, Professor Jaramillo. So I see Dr. Laura Ramirez.
Hi, thank you. So I think I agree with just about everything that Sheila mentioned as far as updating the AP and the language to make it readable for students and to really be able to communicate what the intent and the process is more than anything. But I think taking it out of instruction would may be problematic because when there is a grade appeal, there's very specific rationale for why a student would do that, right? There was a mistake, a miscalculation. 99.9% of the time, if there's a mistake in a calculation, the faculty recognize that. But then we're talking about bad faith, we're talking about incompetence, and those things are a little bit, for a student to make that claim is a little bit more egregious. And so the faculty, I would think, need to have their dean there to be able to be part of the investigation that happens, because that's really what it is. There's an investigation that occurs. And yeah, a student can bring a rep with them, and that has happened. I've seen that at other institutions, and I've been part of that here as well. And a student will bring a rep with them to support them and to guide them through the process. But I think having it out of the instruction area where faculty live with their dean and the Office of Instruction may be problematic.
Thank you, Dr. Ramirez.
Okay, and next I have Professor Sharon Bober.
Thank you. I'm just trying to verify. There was a reference in the previous version for model district policy in this AP when I had looked at it earlier, and I just wondered if that was still a reference under 3A, because that document is dated 1996 and a new document is supposed to come out next year during the plenary. So I just wondered if that was still referenced there.
Sharon, we didn't change anything from our AP. The one that you're looking at has not been touched or revised in any way since it's been in the next phase of us looking at them with this subcommittee is to make those revisions, and the recommended legislative analyst office recommendations to make sure that the language that we need to have in there is actually in there. So maybe don't look at this draft as the draft that we're analyzing right now, because it's not real. A lot has changed, like you said.
Okay, next we have Dr. Carmen Stevens.
Okay, thank you. I saw my hand go down. I was like, hold up, I didn't do that. But anyway, sorry, you guys. Okay, so for mine, it was a question regarding the grade appeal for AP 4230. In section B, where it says that the district may change a grade, I just wanted to know if it could be added or addressed. When can this occur? Is this when like a faculty member is separated from the college, like somebody retired, somebody no longer works for the college, somebody's on sabbatical, or when would the district be allowed to change the grade without including the faculty member? Thank you.
Thank you for that recommendation. We definitely need to make the language more specific. So thank you for that, Dr. Stevens.
We have Lyman Chafee next.
Hi, yeah. I got a couple of comments from my colleague Matt Hennis about these. One, he had a question on the BP 4230, or it's not really a question, it's more of an observation. He says the last year we removed FW as a grading option. He just wants to know, we took it away, now we're just bringing it back. Is that the issue? And as far as the AP, he feels a little wordsmithing would be appropriate, where it talks about the Board of Trustees taking action at a board meeting. He feels it should say something along the lines of any action taken on the appeal by the Board of Trustees shall occur at a regular board meeting. Because of course, no action may be taken. So if there is action, then any action taken will be done at a regular meeting. That's what it is. Anyway, that's he just wanted me to pass those comments on.
Thank you, Lyman.
Okay, and Professor Constantine.
Yeah, I was just curious, when a student submits a grade appeal, are they able to contact the union for representation, or is the union only going to represent faculty?
The union only represents faculty. I think that's where the recommendation about somehow involving the Office of Student Life, and I do very much understand Dr. Ramirez's comment about instruction ultimately being responsible for grades, but balancing the faculty member having their dean there with the student having an advocate. And so that is very much something that we are concerned and will work on in the policy level. So thank you for that.
Yeah, this is a recommendation, perhaps the student government president.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Oh, this is a recommendation, perhaps the student government president can sit in for as a representative.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was just saying that maybe perhaps the student government president can be a representative for the student in terms of the grade appeal.
Bevel Associated Students is through the Office of Student Life, so that would be one of the options that we're looking at. So thank you for that.
Okay, so we're going to send this back to committee so that they can make the necessary corrections, and then we'll bring it back to the Senate once those corrections have been made. And I believe we covered AP and BP 4260 as well. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Academic Senate bylaws. And I think he may still be here. Professor Henley, are you still here?
I am still here.
Awesome, thank you.
So I don't know, do you have the bylaws to put on the screen or would you like me to do it?
Can you do that, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the second time we brought these to the committee, whether it's to the Senate. Sometime last year, there were some comments, so we went back, talked about them. We made a few more changes, and so now we're bringing them back. Most of the changes, let's see, there are some just minor editing thing. The major things are clearing up some language to make sure definitions are more precise in terms of who constitutes what different body and who gets to vote and so forth. And then there are some changes regarding term limits, the terms and the term limits for the executive committee. And then we included some language after our recommendation last time to sort of make it clear when that would go into effect, since obviously the people elected now were elected under a different set of bylaws. We wanted to make it clear how this would work if the faculty chooses to adopt these new bylaws. I think that's the only difference between what I last presented last year. There was a recommendation last time to possibly separate the bylaws into a bylaws and a constitution, and the committee discussed that and didn't feel like there was enough material here to bother making two separate documents. So we're back pretty much with the same thing, except for with some clarifying language in terms of when the term limits go into effect. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I see Professor Simon's hand. Go ahead.
Thank you. I have a question about something in section 4.2, eligibility. Not so much a question as a correction. 4.2D, in addition to the academic and vocational divisions, and it's followed by listing college, library, and distance education. I wanted to point out the library is an academic division. So it probably isn't appropriate to list it there. Distance education can be listed as a separate department in that section.
Okay, this is not a change we made. This has been there for a while, but I'll make note of that.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is our second read. I'm willing to entertain a motion to approve the new bylaws. Oh, I see a hand. Okay, Dr. Stevens.
Hi, that same area, section 4.2, area F, where it gives the Senate board members the limitations on their terms. I guess I just question, why is it that the executive board gets 6 years total for their terms, but the Senate board members only get 4 years? Is there a reason why that distinction was made and why they're both not limited to 6?
Gina, can I answer that?
Yes, please.
If I remember correctly, the committee's sort of reasoning on that was there's a far bigger pool of people to choose from to be an academic senator, whereas the pool of people willing to serve on the exec committee is far, far smaller. So we felt like it was okay to limit the Senate to the broader Senate to the 4 years, and therefore get greater participation when you've got a bigger pool to choose from. But with the Senate officers, you know, as you can tell from the elections we've had, there's often very few people willing to even do the job. So we didn't want to limit that too much. That was the reasoning.
Thank you, John. Are there any other questions? Okay, then I'm willing to entertain a motion to approve the new Senate bylaws. Is there a motion?
Gina, can I just comment there?
Sure.
So just to be clear, the entire faculty has to vote on the bylaws. So what the Senate would be doing today is recommending this to be forwarded to the Nominations and Elections Committee to then put to a full vote.
Thank you, John. You're a lifesaver. So is there a motion to move this forward to that committee? Anyone?
Motion to move it forward to that committee. This is Anthony Francoso.
That committee being the elections. Nominations and elections. Thank you so much. Is that a second, Lindsay?
I was going to ask if we can include the amendment of Ken Simon, what he had said about library, or is that just taken for granted, John, that you'll fix that and it'll move ahead?
I would prefer that the Senate make it an official amendment and then I'll do it.
So move to amend then before we approve?
Is there a
Sorry.
second?
I second.
Okay.
Ken, would you like to say the language again, please?
I don't believe I had a specific language change so much as removing college
it.
library. Yeah.
That was it.
So I moved to remove college library from the list of non-academic divisions.
And I'll second that.
Okay, and there is a motion on the floor to move it forward to the Committee of Nominations and Elections. I got it. I'm going to do
Gina?
that discussion. Yes.
I would go ahead and ask for unanimous consent for that amendment.
Okay. Thank you. If there are no objections, can we approve that motion, the amendment, by unanimous consent? I see hands. Are those objections? Jose, is that an objection?
Is the mic on? Yeah. Oh, hey. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is Lyman. My computer has suddenly decided to mess up, so I'm here with my colleague Jose.
Okay, Lyman.
But no, I don't have an objection. I just had a question about the process. So if we, the Senate, did decide to, move this forward to the Committee of Nominations and Elections, I just want to let my constituents know when they would probably be expecting to vote on this. Does anyone have any notion, or is that just totally, who knows? Like,
It has to be, I think it's got to be within 6 weeks.
so definitely this semester.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have an objection.
Charlene?
Similarly to the library, I believe counseling should also be considered an academic division because we are in the classroom. So I would like to motion to include counseling along with the library. We are faculty too. Thank you.
I'll second that as well.
John, so I need to get a unanimous consent for that as well?
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, does that mean take out student services altogether, or student services get a rep in addition to counseling?
Colleen?
I would say counseling is different than student services because we are comprised of faculty members as opposed to non-faculty in other groups. However, I would also like to ask my colleague Jeff Hupp, and as well as Armia Walker and Dr. Gina Lopez to weigh in, and even Miriam Altunji, since we're all counselors in this room, so I don't speak for just myself, and Dr. Carmen Stevens.
I had a similar concern. Gina, you're muted again. I see you're talking.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that I'm not in the Senate in this capacity as a counseling rep. So, okay.
So I had a similar concern. I'm not totally sure I know the implications. So I want to make sure that I understand that more fully before I give my full opinion, but I'm sort of feeling that we are similar to library. So I want to make sure that we are doing the same things or treating this the same way. But like Colleen said, there's many constituents within the term of student services. So I think we might need to unpack all of that a little bit more. Also related to this, yeah, well, I think non-credit teaching faculty, that part I think is okay, but I wanted to make sure that if we're sort of unpacking all of this, do we need to look at that too? Not to create more dialogue or work, but I just wanted to make sure about all of those things.
Okay, we are out of time on this. I need to entertain a motion to extend this item.
I'll do another motion to extend, another 5.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay Reese. And do I have a second?
A second that motion, Dr. Carmen Stevens.
Thank you, Dr. Carmen Stevens. If there are no objections to that extension, I'd like to approve this by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Then this is approved by unanimous consent. We have another 5 minutes on this. Dr. Carmen Stevens, your hand is up.
Okay, I think Kim was before me, if you want to go. If not. Okay. Okay, so I was just going to add on to Talene and Jeff and agree with, I think it needs to be a little bit of a larger discussion regarding counseling. But then I also wanted to piggyback on that as far as library counseling, but also disabled student services. Currently, we're called Disabled Students Programs and Services, but that entity also includes faculty and faculty that teach. So I'm not sure how we should be added in this separate section or included in the other part.
Okay, so what we're going to do is table this discussion. We will let this go back to the bylaws committee. And John, do I need a motion to table this?
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion to table?
Motion to table. It's
And that
Veronica.
was- Thank you, Veronica. Do I have a second?
Seconded from Jeff Hupp.
Thank you, Jeff Hupp. Okay, if there are no objections, we table this until our next meeting. Are there any objections? Because I want to use unanimous consent if there are no objections. Okay, so we will table this until our next meeting, and John has to leave. Thank you, John, so much.
No problem.
Okay, next item is a CNI update, and instead of John, we're actually going to have Sharon give us that update.
Thank you. So as always, there's always a lot of changes happening with curriculum. There are changes in the law, federal and state, that affect curriculum. And so one thing you can always be guaranteed of is that curriculum needs to be revised. And one of the big changes that happened last year had to deal with the pandemic. And just to talk a little bit about the Form D process. So last year when the pandemic happened, the Chancellor's Office issued what was called a blanket addendum approval that gave community colleges some time to submit their distance education addendums to be approved, meanwhile still offering classes online. Now at PCC, we have a large number of our curriculum is out of date. And because of that process, we couldn't officially add an addendum to an outdated course because part of the guidelines that we have requires us to review the entire course outline of record. So needless to say, that's where all the temporary addendums came from. So we approved all those last year. So now we're in the process of approving official distance education addendums when curriculum is being revised. So CNI is busy working on that and still continuing to do that. And then with that, we are also looking at changing over our course management system. So currently we've been using WebCMS, and we're going to be transitioning to CourseLeaf, which is a new system. And so proposals will continue to be entered through WebCMS through November of this year. And then our new system we'll be working with in the spring. So we'll be working on creating training videos for everyone as we move forward towards that implementation. So there's a lot of things going through curriculum now, and we are doing our best to pull through as much curriculum as possible while we're still using WebCMS. And then we'll switch over to our new curriculum management system, which is CourseLeaf.
Okay, are there any questions for Sharon? Okay. Oh, I do see a hand. Lyman.
How'd you know it was me?
Lucky guess.
I'm just wondering for Sharon, is there gonna be a learning curve on using CourseLeaf as opposed to WebCMS, or is it gonna be as user-friendly as WebCMS?
Well, hopefully it is more user-friendly than WebCMS. The design of a lot of the documents that we'll be using is very familiar because it's similar to the entry that we have in WebCMS, although the courses will talk to the programs better and there'll be some checks and balances that don't currently exist in WebCMS. So that will be a nice process. And then the curriculum management system will talk to the catalog. And so the changes that happen will roll through a better process rather than having to update everything separately.
Awesome.
So we don't anticipate the entry of proposals to be difficult. It's just going to be the process of where do you begin the proposal and how do we roll through and look at the different stages of workflow as we move into the new system.
But Tuesday tutoring still exists, yeah?
Still exists.
All
We're
right.
still there.
Thanks a million. And you know what? I was just saying to Jose, I am so glad I am not the head of CNI during COVID. You have my great
I
appreciation.
second that.
Hard work.
I heard that.
Next, we have Professor Constantine.
Thank you.
Yes, hi. I just had a question. If a faculty member wanted to add social justice initiatives to the student learning outcomes, what would that process look like?
Well, the student learning outcomes generally are department specific. So we include them on the course outline of record, but they are not part of what is required when we articulate our course outlines to another school. So I would say that you would talk within your divisions, within your faculty first, before you were going to include that on the course outline of record. But you're welcome to come to Tuesday tutoring. You could talk with the articulation officer and the curriculum specialist, and we can brainstorm an idea about what to do.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for our CNI update? Okay, seeing none, thank you so much. Thank you for being our CNI chair. I know how hard you work. I only have an idea of how hard you work, but thank you so much for all that you do for us.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Unfortunately, Dr. Olivo had to leave for another meeting, so we do not have a student services update. However, Dr. Carmen Stevens has her Lancer Care Center update. Dr. Stevens?
Thank you. Would you mind sharing the the PowerPoint I sent you, Dr. Lopez, for me, please?
Give me just a moment, Dr. Stevens.
No problem. Thank you, Dr. Lopez. So while Dr. Lopez is pulling that up for me, and thank you, because mine is just taking a little while to pull it up. I thought I had like 5 more minutes to load everything. But I'm gonna be sharing today with you guys representing the Lancer Care Virtual Center. I briefly spoke about it before in the spring term, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys a more quick overview and then share an awesome resource that we have for our students for this fall term. And so last week I shared our website. We finally got it up for fall. Yay, Lancer Care. I was super excited about that because it took a whole team to work on that. So it was awesome working with our, thank you, technology team. So thank you. You could go to our second slide, please. So just a little bit about Lancer Care. Lancer Care is a centralized hub for basic needs support and case management for our campus. We offer direct support, advocacy, community linkage to basic needs, concerns of students at PCC. Next slide, please. And let me know if I'm going too fast. I know I only have 5 minutes, so I want to make sure I stick to my time. So how can you kind of determine if you need to refer a student to us? These are just some of the common questions we get. I could definitely send out a flyer to all of you guys or send it to Dr. Lopez and the rest of the exec team. But if a student shares with you that they're experiencing food insecurities, hunger, or they're without supplies, if they're experiencing personal, educational, psychological, or financial crisis, if they're experiencing homelessness, and homelessness can be self-curse, sofa or couch surfing, sleeping in their car, or literally on the streets. If they're experiencing domestic violence or feel unsafe in their at-home environment or in personal relationships. They may have an increased need of resources on campus or community assistance. And they may be eligible for public assistance. So our center is here to assist students and just in reviewing those concerns, but also applying and tapping into those resources. Next slide, please. So this is kind of like an overview picture of kind of like how we help students. We help them in navigating college and navigating housing resources and connecting them with food and pantry resources. And because we have our own pantry, we help them apply for CalFresh, and we help them with personal counseling. We do help them with applying for healthcare benefits, just in case they don't already have that established. Next slide, please. And so the big one that I really wanted to present to you guys today is that we have a source that we had since this past summer that allows students to get meals delivered to their home. So if a student has a location, if they're staying even in a hotel, different things like that, students can get the food delivered to PCC campus and can pick it up, or they could get delivered directly to their home. And so it's fresh meals, and a student will get 5 fresh meals for a week. They would have to have a place to be able to store it. So unfortunately for our homeless students that do not have any shelter, they would not be able to store the food because it is food that has to be refrigerated. And it is food just for our students. So for some of our students who have family members and things of that nature, it would be food just for them. But let me let you guys know, a little bit goes a long way. So at least if they could feed themselves, then they could work out other resources for the rest of their family. And we can also help them look into that. But our partnership with Every Table provides those fresh meals. Students must be registered at PCC. That includes non-credit. That includes being in half a unit, 1 unit or more, as long as they are registered and enrolled for the current semester. So they have to be registered and enrolled for fall. And then they need to have a food insecurity or a food need. Some of our students have other needs, but maybe not a food need, and that's okay. We could work with them on other resources, but we really want to designate this for our students who have a food need. The Food Services is here to help our PCC students have nourishment via food and home delivery or in-person pickup. If you would like more information, please just contact us. You can refer a student to us. We will walk them through the process. The food service delivery is also based off of a third criteria, which is the student living in certain zip codes. So every table is not everywhere. So a student does have to be one located in California. Even though some of our classes are still online and we have students in other states, we cannot deliver out of state. And it's within certain zip codes. So as the person talking to the student, you don't have to like know all those factors about a student. Just let them know that those are some of the things that we'll be looking at and reviewing with them when we make the decision if they can qualify. Once a student is no longer enrolled with our campus, they do get discontinued from the service, but we do reach out to them. We let them know before the food is stopped, and we also connect them to other resources, either at other institutions or other places where they'll be living and be able to get food. You can refer students to us through PCC Connect. A student can raise their hand, or you could do a referral. You can email us at lantercareteam@pasadena.edu. You can call us at 626-585-7836 and leave a message, and we will call you back. You can also follow us on Instagram. We have all our flyers or all of our great events there as well. And thank you guys so much for giving me time to present. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can also email me personally at Carmen Stevens with the PH #2 @pasadena.edu. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carmen. We appreciate that. Are there any questions for her? We're actually out of time for this item. If you have questions or concerns, please contact Dr. Carmen Stevens. Thank you. So I'm still in my learning curve, so I apologize up front. There were some names that were left off our next item. Some were because people got me information late, and some was because I forgot. So I need to entertain a motion to amend the agenda.
A motion to amend the agenda to include the new members for the committees.
I second that motion, Dr. Carmen
Okay,
Stevens.
do I have a second?
Oh, I second that motion, Dr. Carmen Stevens.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. Okay, so first, okay. Let me add the names. I actually did a full PowerPoint for our meeting today and kept forgetting to put it up. So forgive me for that. I'm going to share my screen so that you all can see the additions that we're adding to the agenda. Just a moment. Here we go. So what I'm going to ask right now from the Senate, what I'm going to ask for the Senate is if we can approve these names in a block, if we can approve the block of them. Let me go ahead and stop sharing so I can see. If we can approve the block of them. I see a hand. Go ahead, Ken.
Just a correction before we approve them. Kristen is shown as Katz, K-A-T-Z, and it's K-A-Z without the T.
Thank you. K-A-Z. Kaz. Okay, we'll make that correction as well. Susan Bauer.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention Jason Warner on the version of the agenda I'm looking at. He doesn't have a committee listed, but we're trying to place him on CNI, and he is a member of the biology faculty. So he is listed as letter G under section 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion to approve item Item J, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Any motion?
Motion to approve J 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Thank you, Professor Lindsay Ruiz. Do I have a second? I see Brian Wilbur's hand. Is that a second? Awesome. Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay. I saw a hand go right back down. If there are no objections, I'd like to approve these by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, these names are approved by unanimous consent. Yay. Okay. So we are at the end of our agenda. Are there any proposed agenda items for next meeting? Okay. Thank you. And announce, oh, I see a hand, Professor Constantine.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Lopez. I know last year in our Senate discussions, it was stated that we would have access to the information on the hiring committees. I'm not sure if it needs to be on the agenda or if I should just get the information for who to contact to get that information.
You want that on the next agenda?
Do you think it's appropriate, or should I just get the information myself?
Well, we can discuss it at our next executive committee meeting. And you can always email me, Professor Constantine, and we can figure that out.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any announcements? I have an announcement. It's not really an announcement. It's more of a thank you to the Senate for bearing with me during this learning curve. It's a learning curve, but thank you so much for your patience and for all of your help. And I humbly love serving you. So thank you so much. If there's nothing else, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Oh, I'm so sorry, Veronica. I must be getting a delay. I'm not seeing these until the last minute. Go ahead, Veronica.
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that Cynthia Olivo had sent us some documents to share with you guys. So I put that in the chat. So it's a flyer for Transfer Day and it's a calendar from the Transfer Center. So please share that with your students. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Jaramillo. Now I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn. We can stay here. I mean, I have childcare. Any motion to adjourn?
I don't have childcare.
Motion to adjourn, Anthony Francoso, but I
Okay,
also want to say
Professor
great job,
Walker,
Dr.
motion to
Lopez. Y'all are
adjourn,
killing it.
and Professor Francoso, are you seconding?
I did the actual motion, but I also wanted to say great job, Dr. Lopez, and the new Senate. Y'all are doing a great job. Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you. Okay, meeting adjourned. Bye, everybody. Thank you. This was awesome. Thank you.